is Ruel's Running Podcast, a podcast about running, health, family, play, and an NSNG lifestyle. And now, here's your host, Ruel.
Excuse me as I rock on. That's Went Away by Dorothy Lane. Dorothy Lane out of Martinez, California. That's out of the Cut and Dry album. Check them out at dorothylanemusic.com. Yeah. Hey everybody, welcome. I'm your Ruel Abadam. This is Ruel's Running Podcast, the podcast about a bunch of stuff, basically not a whole lot of stuff. So don't come here if you think you want something to focus on and get yourself set straight, because I'm not going to do that for you. Only you can set yourself straight. I'm just noise. Sometimes we all need a little bit of noise from our day-to-day. Excuse my, I'm dealing with allergies, and it's come up right after dealing with some sort of flu, and it's been that way for quite a while. I had like 2 days where I felt phenomenal, and then the allergy thing just kind of like, no, you're not ready. You're not done, but I'll take this over the flu and whatever the funk that I was in, because I could just hammer in the Zyrtec and the Zatador eye drops and the Flonase nasal spray and get by. Well, not to mention a ton of coffee. How's it going, guys? How's it going? Hope everything's going great. A lot has happened. I missed an episode last week. I've just been really swamped with stuff. So I figured this will be one of those moments where it isn't a weekly episode. It's every other week. I could fake it. I could cut this episode short or split it into two, publish one half backdated a week, and then publish the other half for today. And then on paper, it'll look like, yay, it's a weekly podcast. But I don't have any commitments. I don't have any sort of sponsorship commitment for the next for this episode. So yeah, there you go. So I guess to kind of catch up, what's been going on? Usually talk about food. So what's cooking, y'all? You know, I've fired up the cast iron pan, and I've done this before, but this was in greater volume, and it's just as good, and it's really simple. And someone posted today on a Facebook group, on the Eat Happy Cookbook Facebook group, whether or not our good friend Anna Vicino was going to put pork belly recipes in the second cookbook, the Eat Happy Cookbook 2, or the Eat Happy 2 cookbook. And it got me thinking about this recipe that really isn't a recipe. It's just a quick dish that I whipped up for my wife for meal prep, and she likes it enough to want me to keep cooking it. And it is a pork belly recipe, and it's very simple. You can go to your grocery store and get pork belly if you're lucky. And the package that we recently got, the pork belly was not sliced and left as strips like bacon strips, but sort of cubed. I mean, that's the best way I can describe it. They're not like literally. They're not literally cubic. They're cut into like 1/2-inch length bits of the pork belly. And all I'll do is I'll take some kosher salt and sprinkle it all over the thawed raw pork belly. And I'll get it nice and salted with this kosher salt. I'll get this pepper mill, and I'll freshly grind the black peppercorns that are in this mill into this pork belly. And I'll put a lot of this black pepper because the black pepper is so delicious in the pork belly. So now I've got just salted and peppered pork belly, and I'll take my hands and I'll massage my meat. I'll just kind of like all around, let it kind of slide between my fingertips, and just get it all good and integrated. And then, I'll have a hot iron pan going, and just because I don't need to do this, but I have it, and I like a little bacon grease inside a hot cast iron pan. And it isn't a whole lot because, we know that when you cook this pork belly, it's going to render a lot of that fat. And so I'm basically operating at, I guess, medium-high heat. And so there's a nice layer of that bacon grease in the pan, and I'll slowly fold in the folds meat. Who's that blessed to fold their meat? Well, I'll put the pork belly in the hot pan, and I'll cook the thing. And I don't have any cooking time for you, because you can visually see when the pork belly is done. And the way visually for me, there's a lot of the steam that's already kind of removed, which indicates to me that a lot of the water, the moisture that had, the water moisture that was locked up in the meat, is cooked off. And, things start to brown a little bit, and the pan is starting to get a little sticky because of, for whatever reason, I'm thinking it's the fat or the some bits of the skin that, get nice and tacky, and that happens. And, I'm not making crispy bacon. I'm making just cooked, delicious pork belly. And then what I'll do is right there, I'm good. If it's cooked that way, it's good. But, my wife likes a little bit of an additional seasoning. So the last ingredient, so we had bacon grease, pork belly, salt and pepper, and then we do like a little splash of coconut aminos and work that in. And it's simple. It's delicious. You got the flavor of the meat and the texture of a little skin and some chewiness of the fat. And if you're into that, I am. My wife is. It's so good. And she often eats it with other stuff as a side, like steamed broccoli with I don't even know what you call this, but I'll steam broccoli, not super steamed where the veggies are super soft, but I'll set that aside, and then in the same hot pot that I used to steam the veggies, I'll put 3 tablespoons of olive oil and toss in some minced garlic and get that all kind of integrated, the garlic and the olive oil, and then I'll plate the broccoli on a dish, and then I'll just drizzle that garlic olive oil over the veggies, get some sea salt, and bam and boom and pow, the veggies with that sea salt, and kind of phenomenal. So she'll have that with pork belly. So how's that? That's what's cooking. Yeah. Awesome. I want to know what you're cooking, but no one really says anything, so fuck it. This is a podcast. I can say whatever I want. And leg cramps. This is important because pretty soon I have a 50K trail run, and I need to be less fucked up than I have been so that I can get to the finish line. And I need your support. I don't even have to hear you utter it. Just think it, that you want me to finish this event. It's called the Ohlone 50K. It starts in Fremont, and it ends in Livermore, California. And there's a bunch of climbing. I've never been there before, and historically, it's been fucking hot. And am I prepared for that? I don't know. We shall see. And so I've been dealing with some pretty bad leg cramps. I might have talked about it in a past episode when I was dealing with the flu, and I seemed to be out of it. And I was trying to just clear myself up from it. And I knew that I had to be ready for this run. I went out for I think it was an 8-mile outing. I mean, it wasn't like I'm going to decide to do 8 miles today. It's sort of like I'm just going to go out. It was, and probably about an hour, and see how I feel, and head back. And before I got to the end of the turnaround point, I started feeling my calf cramp pretty good, my right calf. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. I can deal with it. And I think the problem was that, right from the get-go, I start off on a climb, on a hill, and it kind of rolls, and it kind of goes, there's more hills and more climbing. And I intentionally do that because of the climbing that this event's going to have. And I need to put in some time. I figure climbing, going up stuff. But little did I know that what it was going to end for me, towards that first half hour, that first hour is, a calf cramp. So I'm like, okay, that's interesting. Well, I've been here before, I'll just kind of stretch out a little bit and I'll get through it. I'll eventually turn around and, whatever. And on the second half of the run back, it was cramping up pretty good. I mean, not like gnarly where you could see it's kind of like pulsating, like it's its own entity, like an alien stuck in my leg. But it was like, I couldn't run, so I played it off as, okay, this is mental training. This is okay. Mechanically, I'm screwed up, but I can't stop here. I got to get back to where I started. I got to get to a finish. So, figure it out and try not to cause permanent damage. So I did that. Eventually got to where I needed to get. I soothed my wounds with a big fat juicy burger on a gluten-free bun. Yes. And it was easy to do. Just get on an app, and I have access to this service that taps into this restaurant that I like going to my burgers for. And so easy, just tap, passcode for Apple Pay, and then in 10 minutes or under, my burger's ready, waiting for me to pick up as I limp in. Not too sweaty because I can't sweat like a pig in San Francisco, and when I'm not even running because of a jacked up leg. So there I am, screwed up leg, and I know that I've been battling an IT band thing and trying to prepare my IT band for the next event, only for all of the tightness around on other parts of my leg. I mean, some will say basically you can't say it's an IT leg syndrome. It's basic IT band syndrome. It's like leg syndrome. Like your whole legs got spots that are pretty jacked up, and it impacts other parts of your leg. So I had to figure that out, and it wasn't good. I had to figure out I had to get back on the foam roller and try to get effective with that sort of therapy. And what else did I do? I did things like went and got a lacrosse ball because a coworker of mine saw me all limping about, and he's like, "Dude, how come you didn't tell me anything? I have a lacrosse ball." But my mindset was sort of like, maybe you should never share another person's lacrosse ball because you never know where it's been. But that's silly. But anyways, I found myself picking up a couple of lacrosse balls over at a sports basement. It's a store here, and there's a few of them in the area. And they had like $3 lacrosse balls, and it was cheaper than the lacrosse balls on Amazon. And I just picked up a couple, keep one in my work bag and keep one at home. And then one day I brought it into work and spoke to my coworker about having picked up a lacrosse ball for myself. And then he showed me some techniques and pointers on how he uses the lacrosse ball. It was kind of like a gay moment, where this young, attractive Asian guy, and not me, the other guy, young, and you could see like muscles kind of popping out of his clothes and stuff, and he was showing me how he rolls his leg and stuff, and I mean, nothing from me, but I just can't help but think about the funny things that go on in life. And here I am, two dudes just kind of rolling on this rubber ball, not together, just him and me watching. Oh, hear that? I'm dying. Oh my God. So, foam rolling and lacrosse ball therapy, trigger point type therapy, checking out YouTube videos, how the guys who really know what they're talking about demonstrate stuff on YouTube on this type of stuff, like Kelly Starrett. So doing what I can, and lo and behold, knock on wood, I have use of my leg again, and stretching techniques and whatnot helped. I also, at the time too, when I was dealing with a pretty jacked up leg, I realized that I was due a reorder on the Pure Vitamin Club broad spectrum magnesium. And interesting thing about that is I went on Amazon. That's the last place I ordered a batch. And rather than picking up one bottle of the 60-day supply, I picked up 2 bottles because I've been doubling up on them, and my wife also takes them. So I didn't want to rob her of a supply. So I figured I'll buy 2 and I'll rob her of 2, a 2-bottle supply. And it's been great. I shopped around. I went on Amazon. I saw what they were selling for, and then I went on the Pure Vitamin Club site and compared prices. And for that moment, it was just, I think price wise, they're pretty much the same. I think. Oh, you know what it was? I was thinking about a different purchase, but I'll get into that later. It had to do with fuel. But I went on Amazon, and Amazon was showing that they were out of stock or something like that. I'm like, well, okay, I'm going to the website. And I went on the website, and you don't have to go on the Pure Vitamin Club recurring subscription. You can get stuff out of subscription, and that's what I did. I bought a couple of 60-day supply bottles out of subscription, and got it, as expected, and been getting in on that. And yes, it's not proven, but I've experienced when I'm on a good dose of magnesium before bedtime, I dream away. I mean, it's awesome. For whatever reason, the other night, I dreamt that I was in the room with the two dudes from Google. Was it Sergey Brin and blah, 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 whatever his name is? It's just easy to remember Sergey Brin for me. And I'm pretty sure that fantastic ideas were exchanged in that dream, but I wasn't paying attention. I must have been on my phone in my dream, tweeting about how everyone should support Vinnie Tortorich and Peter Pardini because they are working on an Indiegogo campaign to promote Fat, a documentary.
If more and more stuff that I shop for, buy, and get shipped to my home comes from Amazon, it's just a reality, right? And if this is your reality, go to ruelsrunning.com, click through to the Amazon banner to get to Amazon. Why am I asking you to do so? Well, it is a no cost to you way. If you like listening to Ruel's Running Podcast, it is a way that you can help the show out without spending more than you've already spent while shopping at the good folks at Amazon.com. So help us out. Go to ruelsrunning.com, click through to the Amazon.com site, and shop, connect, and enjoy.
So I had that dream. I woke up and thinking, oh, okay, what did we think? What was discussed in that dream, in that meeting, in that encounter? Damn, I can't remember. I need to remember to message myself in my dream to my reality self so that I have proper notes of what's going on. But, if anybody's interested, it is fatdocumentary.com. That takes you to the Indiegogo campaign for Fat, a documentary. And I've been doing a little bit of what I can to be part of that grassroots effort to promote it. And here I am again doing so. Happy to. It doesn't cost me a thing. It doesn't cost them a thing to just talk about it. And yeah, more about that on the next episode, because guess what? I may cut this short and chop it into 2 separate episodes. So, leg cramps, massage therapy, magnesium, awesome. I'm concerned about getting to the end of this 50K. So what else did I do in preparation? I picked up some new gear that I've never used because it wouldn't be new. And if I had, anyways, so I was, one day I was online and it was on one of the trail running or ultra running type Facebook groups, and saw a picture of some trekking poles posted by the legend Ann Trayson. If anybody of you follow the ultra running scene community, you know who Ann Trayson is. She's like the legend, the ultra badass who's like the top winner of the Western States endurance run, many times over. She is she is a character based on her, and her name, or maybe however you want to call it, was in the book Born to Run. Anyways, she had some trekking poles posted, a picture of some trekking poles posted online, and you got, and I've been listening to other podcasts and hearing and reading and stuff that, she's back at it, doing ultra events, but it's not to kill it and win it. She just goes out to enjoy, and she uses trekking poles to get it done. And I figured if I'm dealing with massive leg issues and concerns with my knee, and in addition to therapy and massage and some nutrition, maybe I should grab a pair of my own trekking poles, and in case I need to. The last event that I did, the guy ahead of me had trekking poles, and that last event I did, I didn't beat the overall cutoff by like 8 or 10 minutes. So maybe some trekking poles might alleviate some of that load on the legs, and I could spread out the effort to get up and around and back down on this course. So I went online, and I know folks who ordinarily listen, they're like, oh, there's a rule talking about running stuff. How boring. Please bear with me. I'm not supposed to be talking about running on this podcast. Oh God. I could edit that out, so don't worry about it. But if you've heard it, then I clearly didn't edit it out. Like that. That's a wooden chair. So what is this vehicle doing with a wooden chair? So I picked up I went online, and I'm like, okay, I don't want to get junk poles. I kind of want to look like, I know what I'm doing by getting poles. I don't want to go out and pick up poles that would give me weird looks. Not like the way I look matters, but trekking poles and ultra events like this, they've been around. The use in these events have been around for a long time. So, there are ways that they are used and they are held during the event and stowed away, So I went online, and I figured, okay, there's, what do people use, and what can I afford, and what's available, and what is appropriate for my size, and and whatever is available, how am I going to manage it in the event? In the end, and I think I got something that makes sense. They are a Black Diamond Distance Z pair of poles, and got them on Amazon for less than $100. So that's based on a lot of these other ones I've seen, that's an okay price, and they fold up, and that makes it easy to move to keep them with me. So the question was, how am I going to keep them on me if I don't start off with them, without me having to hold on to them, and so I poked around online trying to find racing vests or packs that have them fastened on them. There are certain packs that I think Ultimate Direction has a pack that, or maybe several packs that have custom built loops on the pack. And so I found one of those online, saw how where they had the loops, and I replicated that on my pack. I just grabbed a couple of, stretchy hair ties that my wife had in the drawer, and I just looped them through spots on my pack, and then ta-da, I have it. But then, I figured I should, if I can, take the time and head over to REI and pick up some cord and some locks, some elastic cord and some locks. And that was the idea, and I happened to find something, and so I replaced the hair ties with this cord and these ellipses, these locks, and so there you go. Took some pictures of what I had done, shared it on Instagram. If in case someone just like I was, someone who ends up deciding to use poles and not wanting to invest, $100 or so on another pack, how they might be able to utilize their existing pack by just, creating their own customizations that'll allow them to carry these folded trekking poles. So yeah, I did that. So here I am. I am less than a week away before the event, and I'm holding back on additional strenuous activity to not cause any more damage, and taking my magnesium. I'm doing my foam rolling and my lacrosse ball, and I've got trekking poles that I've practiced with in the house and up and down the stairs, and I've watched videos on how on techniques and stuff, and I'll roll with that, and we'll see how it goes. Oh, that's not all. That's not all. Jeez Louise. The weather's been great, for allergies, and it's also been great for riding bikes. And my wife has a bike, and she's been taking my son out for rides around the neighborhood once in a while. But on sometimes she can't go on a ride with him, and I have to go on a ride, and I want to go on a ride with him, so I go on a ride with him. But the problem is I don't have a bike, so I use my wife's cruiser. It's a little smaller than my frame, and it's purple and has flowers. It's pretty. The only thing missing on it is a basket with maybe a daisy on the front and maybe a couple of French baguettes popping out of it. So I'll take that thing, and I'll ride around the neighborhood with my son, and we'll climb hills, and we'll go kind of far and out, and and I love it, and I hope he loves it too. I think he does, because he keeps wanting to ride. And the more and more of these types of rides I realize, the more and more I'm kind of getting used to this flowery bike, and but I can't have that, so decided to shop online for a bike for myself, one that I feel comfortable in, not just for rides like with the family, because one thing that I was realizing after these rides with my son on my wife's bike is the leg that I've been trying to treat and all this stuff. I was feeling good. I was feeling the workout, but it was without the impact and the damage and the trauma that would come from climbing, running, and descending, and even jump rope, right? So, I've heard other folks talk about how, they integrate bike riding and how that helps with their fitness and their conditioning for runs. And so I go off of that. Like, I could keep a level of fitness on a bike, for my running. So I went for those two reasons, spending time with the family, and for training purposes, I picked up a bike, and like how I sort of just made stuff up for the trekking poles and my backpack, so I don't have to spend extra money on additional gear. I didn't want to spend a ton of money worrying about having the latest and greatest of a bike. And because, to be honest, I wanted a bike that was okay, not midline, not top of the line, but not a piece of crap. And should, me and the bike get into some serious stuff, then that'll dictate whether or not I need to invest on something that's a little bit of higher quality. So, I picked a bike online that was for $120, and, I know that it's not top of the line, but who cares? It's the most top of the line bike that I've ever owned, because I haven't owned a bike since I was in elementary school. And those got stolen by some fuckers in the neighborhood or the next neighborhood over. So here I am. I have a Huffy Alpine. It's a 26-incher. Yeah, 26 inches. And I figured the money that I figured by not spending pricey on a bike, I had room to play with additional funds to get other things. And the other thing that I got was a trainer. One of those things that you attach the back wheel to, and you can actually kind of spin around on the bike without going anywhere. And sure, the bike has some knobby wheels and it's going to be kind of noisy, but I wanted that option where if I can't afford to go out and far and away, I could spin. I can spin in the garage, and got a decent one, a decent trainer, also inexpensive. So for about a couple $100, I got a bike and a trainer, and then later on I picked up a helmet at a sports basement for like, I don't know, $30-$40. So there I am. I'm all I need is one of those bells, that just cling cling ching ching, or one of those horns, the ha 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 ha. That would make it so sexy. Yeah, because I can't always holler out on the trail, to your left, right? Because I might be eating a hot dog or something, and it's gonna come off weird. Because that's what most people do when they ride a mountain bike. They eat hot dogs on the go. So yeah. So lots happened, but yeah, I'm as prepared as I'll ever will be. I just got to get my ass up early in the morning, drive to the finish line of the event, and then a bus will take all of the participants to the start, a couple cities over, and drop us off, so that we basically get to run to our vehicle. Yeah, that should be fun. But that's that. I think before I go, on this episode, I just want to say it again, say it as a reminder. Speaking of trainers, I'm going to read this off. Weight loss expert Vinnie Tortorich and award-winning filmmaker Peter Pardini want you to join their team to make a hard-hitting documentary film that exposes the widespread myths and lies around healthy eating, fat, and weight loss, and shows how, in spite of all our good intentions, we go on getting fatter and fatter. So what does that mean? It means, I would love it if you guys could show your support, get some really cool perks, get your name, believe it or not, on the credits of the movie. It can't be like a $5 perk, because getting your name on the credits isn't a perk, at that level. The next level up is, I think, 15, if I'm not mistaken. And then 15 and up, you'll get perks. And one of those perks is you can get your name on the credits. How cool is that? I think it's cool, But yeah, I went and got a perk with that. Got me a T-shirt. In addition to that, and, there's like, some format of the movie, clearly, right, and other material, credits, and a T-shirt, and cool stuff like there's another level where you can get a belt buckle. There's another level where you can get a hat, and there's like the high end levels that you can actually interact with humans as part of the perk and get consults with Vinny and sessions with Vinny and Serena, and there's a perk where you can actually be in the movie. So do that. I challenge one of you listening, because there's only one of you, to get that perk and be in the movie. And the only thing I ask out of that as a favor is, when you get in the movie, to holler out at this podcast, to have folks, friends listen, and their enemies. But anyways, yeah, do that. Help the project out. I like to say, help a project show you what the skinny is on the fat. That's not their thing. That's just something I made up. So it is fatdocumentary.com. Check it out. Awesome. Guys, I gotta go. But before I go, just another reminder, hug your friends, hug your family, eat something delicious, and go run something. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Ruel's Running Podcast with Ruel. If you like what you just heard, share it with your friends and your enemies. Also, be sure to check out the site over at ruelsrunning.com. This has been another Coffee with Heavy Cream production. Join us next time for another silly show of Ruel's Running Podcast.